The problem is people stopping in the hallways and stairwells.
Morning, there's a clump of freshman girls sitting by my locker, and I absolutely despise them so much. They're in this clump, but they don't move. They're so rude. I'm like, excuse me, you're sitting by my locker, so you need to move. And they don't listen. They're just in their little clump, and that bothers me the most.
How many times have you been walking behind someone in the hallway at a very steady pace, focused on getting to class on time, and then suddenly that person just stops short to have a conversation with someone else passing them in the hallway, causing you to either A, stop short and find a way around them, or B, run headlong into them. This can be either two people suddenly stop to engage in conversation in the middle of the hallway, or even a large group of people stopping, causing serious congestion and simply annoying everyone out of their minds.
So I'm trying to get to class, right? Maybe a little late. I was talking to a teacher after class, and then I see these freshmen stand in front of me, blocking the entire hallway. I got a problem with that. I'm trying to get to class. The freshmen have break off. They need to get out of my way. I'm older. I have stuff to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Possibly worse is when this happens in the stairwell. At Buff, we have two main stairwells, both of which are already quite busy during the passing periods. The most annoying thing to happen here is when people suddenly stop to chat, holding up the mass of students trying to get to class on time.
Piss me off!
How many times has this happened to you? How many times have you been the person doing it? Stopping in the hallway can often lead to a reaction similar to this.
I hate you so much!
The most upsetting part about this is that the reason everyone is late to the next class is because you had to stop to tell your friend a positively meaningless topic. And everyone around you can hear it and realize that the reason they are late is because you simply had to stop and talk senselessly to your friend about nothing at all. No one will be much of a fan of you during this entire episode.
Go somewhere else.
Instead, I have a few suggestions to those who feel the need to keep their friends updated about every single breath they take. Meet out the way. Meet in a corner of the gym lobby, a classroom, or a lounge. You have more space and privacy to tell your story. Twitter! Perfect for someone who can post indefinitely about absolutely nothing at all. Do you really feel the need to tell the world about that ham sandwich you had for lunch? Feel free. Just step outside, whip out your phone, and text. Before you know it, everybody will be really excited because they just found out you had a ham and cheese sandwich for lunch. Or go old school. Write her a note. If you want to write your friend a note about that crazy bird thing you saw outside the window during fourth, write it, and when you see her in the hallway, give a swift pass off to her. This keeps the hallway and stairwell clear and people moving and therefore happy. Or there's always the classic line, I have the best story to tell you during break. The words during the break is the most important part here, as it communicates the fact that you are busy at the moment. But during the free period later, you will tell her. Shout this at her as you are still moving towards each other. That way, there is no stopping involved, and she knows that you have a super important story just for her. If you are a victim of this awful happening.
Well, I like when people stop in the hallway and have conversations because it's a great opportunity to eavesdrop and just know what their business is, which is great for me.
What if it makes you late to class?
In that case, I'd probably not be as pleased, but I'm usually late to class anyway.
Okay, what if this would be your third tardy and you had about 30 seconds left to get to class? What would you do in that situation?
Then I'd be extremely frustrated with them and probably knock them over.
There are some tips for you to avoid this.
Well, as a teacher, I have the authority to say move, and that's typically what I say, and then I stand over them and scowl. And it works pretty often, but the freshmen are pretty scared, so I can use my undue influence over them, and it works pretty effectively, but it's a common occurrence for me, yeah.
Thank you.
Plan out your route moments before the bell rings. You've been here long enough that you should know how most of the crowds move. Try and move quickly before the hallway fills up, and know where you are going so you don't end up having to change direction because you forgot where your class was. Take the back ways. The stairwells by campus ministry, the wellness center, and the library are incredibly less crowded than the two main stairwells. They might be slightly out of the way, but with no crowd clogging it up, they can be faster than the usual route. My third and final suggestion isn't advised and is to be used only in dire situations. If you find yourself stuck with no chance of escape, there is one thing you can do to help move these people along. It is a 3-step process. First, and I advise you to do this first, ask them politely to move. "Oh, I'm sorry. I did happen to notice that you stopped to have a conversation in the middle of the stairwell, and I can't help but let you know that you are blocking several people from getting to class, and I know it is probably a very important conversation that you are having, but it would be just wonderful if you moved it to another classroom, finish the conversation there. That would be just wonderful because I'm sure it is a very important topic that you're discussing upon. But I really do wish to get to class on time because it's very important to me because there is learning afoot." If this doesn't work, perhaps you want to try a more direct verbal route. Be sarcastic, shout loudly about how you are very late to class, and about how you've been riding on 2 tardies for the past 4 months. Maybe they'll get the message, realize that they are in the same position as you are, and hurry along. In short, if you have to talk to someone, there are other ways to do so other than standing in the middle of a crowded hallway making traffic. And for those who are experiencing this, avoid being frustrated with the hallway traffic. Plot out a new, less crowded route, and you can beat all the crowds to your classrooms.